when I first got here this morning, I had one of those pinch me moments. Have you ever had that? Just that, like, wow, I'm here. I was able to stand in front. It was a mostly empty room at that point, but it was an incredible feeling, and Ren, that was wonderful. So thank you so much for that introduction. Well, welcome everybody. Today is extremely exciting. I'm so grateful to look out and see so many familiar faces here this early morning. Most of you know by now that I'm not a morning person. You're more likely to see me or get an email from me at 2 a.m. better than 7 a.m. any day of the week. I'd like to start off by thanking the Chamber for hosting this event. It really means a lot to have the opportunity to speak with another sold-out group of entrepreneurs this year. I also want to say thank you to Toyota for that amazing introduction and being such an important part of making today possible, along with our table sponsors, RE/MAX, AB Realty, for their support in this event. So thank you. Before we get fully started, I want to recognize my council colleagues who are here with us today. Maybe just give everyone a quick wave. I did see Councillor Lauder, Councillor Martin, Councillor Schadenberg. I thought I saw on the side of the room. There he is. Yep. And Councillor Wismer Van Meer. Yeah. Thank you so much for being here. Although we may not always agree on issues, I know that everyone on council is passionate about making Woodstock a place where people and businesses can thrive. The differences we all have is so valuable when debating items at our council meetings to allow us to consider different perspectives when making our decisions. As I started preparing for this year's event, I was thinking about what has happened in the past 12 months since we last got together. And wow, a lot has really happened. We have a new Prime Minister last night. I'd like to congratulate our local MP, Arpan Khanna, on his re-election. We've had a provincial election where voters extended the government's mandate, and I'd like to say congratulations to our local MPP, Ernie Hardeman, on his re-election as well. And of course, I'm sure you've heard the United States has a new Prime Minister as well. That's no big surprise to any of us. We've also been very fortunate to receive a number of funding announcements that I'll touch on this morning that will improve the lives of those living in Woodstock and our surrounding communities. It has truly been an incredible year. Unfortunately, though, the last few months have been a little more uncertain. The threat, then imposition, and now the pause on tariffs has caused real anxiety for many businesses and their workers. I know that many of you in this room have been working tirelessly on contingency plans, which I'm sure hasn't been easy, especially given how quickly and frequently the information has constantly been changing. We know that some of the hardest hit sectors are right here at home, particularly in auto manufacturing. A 25% tariff on non-US made cars has the potential to significantly impact our local industries. I'm hopeful that governments on both sides of the border will prioritize the people behind these jobs and come to an agreement that protects them. There's no question this kind of an unpredictable approach leaves workers in many sectors fearing for their futures. But I believe this is a temporary setback. Our automotive sectors have been deeply interconnected for more than 60 years. That collaboration has strengthened both our countries and supported generation of workers. I believe that shared history and the trade agreements built over decades will carry us forward long after this presidential term. In some ways, this moment reminds me of the early days of COVID. Yes, I said the C word. The uncertainty, the constant change, the need for quick thinking. But we got through a global shutdown together, and we will get through this. Our Canadian economy is stable, our partnerships are strong, and we need to keep our eyes on the long game. We must reinforce the relationships we've spent decades building. In fact, Len and I are leaving this Sunday on a trade mission to Asia, where we will meet with both current and potential new business partners. We must continue to diversify our trading allies, invest in local innovation, and lean on each other as we navigate what comes next. I'm also encouraged to see provinces right across Canada exploring how to better support one another by easing interprovincial trade barriers and opening the flow of goods and services all across our country. In the meantime, know this: we are here for you. Our economic development team and small business center are actively connecting with businesses, listening and working to understand how we can best support you in the months ahead. While I'm on the topic of our economic development team, please join me in congratulating Len Magyar. Now, did he get here? He had to take his daughter. There he is. All right, thank you. On his upcoming retirement, Len has been a leader in our economic development efforts for almost 40 years. Thank you for your leadership and dedication, Len. I'd also like to congratulate Brad Hammond, who will be stepping into the Development Commissioner role this July. We know you'll continue to do great things for this community. Thank you, Brad. Another way we're supporting local businesses by investing in our downtown, the heart of our community. The Downtown Streetscape project was identified as a top priority in the Downtown Development Plan, and for good reason. It's not just about beautification. It's about creating a downtown that feels safe, inclusive, accessible, and vibrant for everyone. This investment is a clear signal to our downtown business community that we value them and that we're committed to building a welcoming environment where people want to live, shop, dine, and gather. This project is designed to do more than upgrade infrastructure. It's about supporting local business growth and building a flexible, functional space that can host community events and bring more people downtown to experience everything our local shops, restaurants, and services have to offer. We're now about 1 month into phase 1 of construction, and the tender for phase 2 just closed earlier this month. And anyone who knows me knows I'm a big supporter of shopping local. Now more than ever, our downtown businesses need it. So let's all do our part, help them through this construction period. They're working hard to stay connected with customers, so let's give them a hand. Like, tag a friend, share, and tag all their social posts you can. Help spread the word that they are open and ready to welcome you. We've also just renewed our shared services agreement with the Downtown BIA. And we're partnering with Tourism Oxford on a new initiative to promote and activate downtown Woodstock, encouraging both locals and visitors to explore everything our city has to offer. Recently, City Council had a presentation from Meredith Maywood at Oxford Tourism, who shared some really interesting stats about the direct financial value tourists bring when visiting. And did you know, visitors spend on average $90 per person when they're here for a day trip, but that number jumps to $244 per person if they stay overnight. That is why Oxford Tourism is working with our local businesses and attractions to give people more reasons to come shop, have dinner, spend the night right here in Woodstock and Oxford County. Council also recently got a look at the updated design plans for the redevelopment of Museum Square, and boy, they are stunning. I can already picture how incredible downtown Woodstock is going to look once these plans come to life. The redesign includes a permanent stage that will enhance our ability to host signature events like the lighting of Museum Square and Street Fest. And make sure to mark your calendars for our newest event happening on October 4th, Fall Fest. It also creates welcoming public spaces for people to relax, connect, enjoy passive recreation amenities like water play area in summer and a winter skating rink. These enhancements will only make downtown more enjoyable for residents. They'll increase foot traffic and help our businesses and the BIA reach new audiences and attract fresh energy to the core. This is about more than construction. It's about vision. It's about creating a vibrant, people-focused downtown that brings our community together and supports local success. And we couldn't bring this to life without working together. Stepping out of the downtown to the outer edges of our city, another way we're supporting the businesses is with the development of fully serviced business parks, reinforcing Woodstock's reputation as a prime destination for businesses and industry. Progress is really starting to take shape at our most recent park off Botulo Avenue. There are a number of buildings well under construction, and we look forward to seeing companies like Stigterstall Canada, Stubbies, Sunrise Poultry, and Paper for You up and running soon in their new locations. We've also reached a significant milestone with our next industrial park in the city's northeast. After more than 5 years of engineering, design, environmentals, and archaeological studies, we're excited to be building the infrastructure servicing to this site with a $16.8 million earmarked in the 2025 budget. The objective for this year is to extend water and sanitary services under the 401, a major undertaking, let me be clear. In addition, we'll construct a temporary storm water management pond. This work moves the city closer to being able to sell the land to attract new industries to Woodstock, as well as provide opportunities for existing businesses to grow. We expect to be in a position to start selling land in about 2028. By setting up these fully serviced, shovel-ready industrial parks, we remove some of the barriers to relocating or expanding your business. We pride ourselves in making it easy for businesses to set up shop here in Woodstock. Not only does this support the creation of new jobs in a diversified local economy, it also brings in new property tax revenue to help offset the cost of the essential services we provide to the community. And of course, with all these new employment opportunities, we need to make sure people have places to live. This year, we have the potential to bring online nearly 1,000 residential units when the new phases of the Woodstock Meadows, Kingsman, and Cache move forward. These new subdivisions provide a great opportunity to increase the housing inventory here in Woodstock. But that's why we continue to advocate to our provincial and federal governments to ensure we have the funding and resources available to support the significant growth here in Southern Ontario. Of course, we need more than actual houses and apartments for people to live, but we also need to consider a holistic approach to include the supportive infrastructure and services needed to provide a high quality of life for residents to build complete communities. One of the significant announcements that has happened over the past 12 months was the City of Woodstock being awarded $2.5 million in funding for Pittock Park Road urbanization improvements. When it was built, Pittock Park Road was a rural road, but there has been significant growth in this end of the city, especially over the last 10 years. There have already been more than 1,200 homes built in the north end of the city, and an additional 1,680 housing units expected to be built in the area by 2031. We need to make sure families living in the area have the important urban amenities like sidewalks, bike lanes, and improved lighting to keep everyone safe. These are the types of housing supportive infrastructure we identified in our housing pledge. And we must continue to work with other levels of government, from Oxford County, who has authority over some of the planning decisions in Woodstock, up to the provincial and federal governments, to ensure that we protect our existing residents and neighborhoods while making it easier for more people to afford homes. In February, the United Way hosted a great session on encampments to help people learn more about this complex and pressing issue. During that session, one of the panelists commented that most of us are closer to being homeless than we are to being millionaires. Think about that. That comment really struck me, not only based on my personal experience. I've been quite honest and candid about my childhood and the role that organizations like Salvation Army and others had in making sure that me and our family had clothes on our back and food to eat. But because it really speaks to the fact that many people experiencing homelessness ended up in unthinkable situations because of a couple of unfortunate circumstances. And that's why the work we're doing with Oxford County and other community partners to address homelessness and help people transition from the streets into safe, appropriate housing is so important. On March 26th, Oxford County presented its homelessness response strategy to County Council. And I'd like to take a moment to recognize Warden Ryan and CIO Ben Adley from Oxford County. Thank you both for being here today. If you haven't had a chance to read the strategy yet, I strongly encourage you to. The report outlines a thoughtful, strategic plan built around 3 key pillars. Pillars that reflect the complexity of homelessness and the need for both immediate response and long-term prevention. This strategy is about more than shelter. It's about guiding people through every stage of the process, from crisis to stability, and ensuring services are easy to navigate and built around people and not systems. I was reminded recently of a story shared at the United Way Oxford year-end event, a fable some of you may know, and I apologize, I'm going to borrow it from the United Way. A woman walking along a river suddenly sees a baby floating down and rushes in to rescue him. Then she sees another child and then another, and she calls on other villagers to come and help. Soon the whole village is in the river working together to try and save the babies. Eventually, someone asks, where are these babies coming from? Clearly, we aren't going to solve this problem by only pulling babies out of the river. So some of the villagers went upstream to see if they could identify the source of the problem, and that's where they found an ogre who was throwing children into the river. The ogre in the story is a complex issue of homelessness, addiction, mental illness that are exhausting our resources and hurting people here in our community. This story is a powerful metaphor for how we must come together to help those in crisis, but that in order to really address the challenges we face, we must also go upstream and confront the ogre, the root causes. And the lesson in the story is simple. Lasting change only happens when communities like ours work together. And that's exactly what we've been doing. Through the Mayor's Task Force for Social Wellbeing, we've tried to break down the silos and created more seamless connections between the services, focusing not on our own individual processes, but on achieving better outcomes for people. The spirit of collaboration is also reflected in the county's new strategy, which outlines both short-term and long-term actions to improve housing stability and reduce homelessness. And that's part of the reason we chose to allocate the $1.99 million we received from the Building Faster Fund to New Homeless Support Center, a permanent facility that will provide not only emergency shelter, but the critical services needed to help people transition out of homelessness and into sustainable housing. We're now working with an ad hoc committee of County Council to explore potential locations. And I'm encouraged by the other actions Council's already approved, all focused on keeping people housed and reducing the length and reoccurrence of homelessness. Another incredible, exciting development is a newly approved Oxford Heart Hub, a major step forward in addressing the root causes of homelessness and addiction, not just the symptoms. This hub will connect people with complex needs to mental health, addiction, and other support services, providing a path towards recovery and long-term housing stability. This was a vision behind the Campus of Care model that we included in our updated list of priorities from our strategic plan at the very start of our council term. A place where services come together and around the individual. I want to recognize and thank Perry Lang, he's here today, from the Woodstock Hospital team and the Oxford Ontario health teams for their leadership in turning this vision into reality. Let me tell you, it was certainly a career highlight to get a call from Premier Ford, 3 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon, to congratulate us on the efforts to secure the funding from a provincial heart hub. And while I'm confident we would have moved forward with or without that funding, I'm incredibly grateful we got it. Now, I know there are questions and concerns about what the Heart Hub is and what it isn't. Let me be clear. It's not a single building. It's not a homeless shelter, and it's not a safe consumption site. It's a coordinated system of care designed to support people who are struggling and to connect them to the help they need. And yes, proximity to existing health and social services is critical. That's why the Woodstock Hospital's purchase of 16 Graham Street is so important. Their vision is to create a wellness center staffed 24/7 by medical professionals, social workers, peer support workers, and therapists. People who can help clients take the next steps in their healing and recovery journey. Now, we've heard concerns about the location, especially in relation to nearby schools, and I absolutely understand those concerns. But I also believe that having wraparound supports available in close proximity is a key part of the solution, and it was a requirement for provincial funding. Was just as important is that the hospital and Oxford OIT are listening. They are fully committed to working with the community to make sure this vital service is integrated successfully and respectfully. This is how we move forward, by listening, collaborating, and staying focused on what matters, helping people. Because in the end, this isn't about facilities or funding, it's about people. It's about compassion. And it's about our shared belief that everyone deserves dignity, stability, and hope. I truly believe we will look back at the launch of the Heart Hub and the Homelessness Support Center as turning points in the story of our community. Moments where we chose to come together to lead with empathy and to tackle some of the greatest challenges together. While there are urgent social challenges that demand our immediate and concentrated attention, social well-being extends far beyond access of housing or healthcare. Living a happy, healthy life also means having opportunities to stay active, express creativity, and build meaningful social connections. That's why we need to take a comprehensive view of social well-being, one that includes physical activity, arts and culture, and inclusive spaces where people can all come together. This was one of the clear takeaways from the feedback we received on the proposed North Woodstock Recreational Facility Study. That community spaces are essential hubs for connection, inclusion, and quality of life. Before I get into that project, I want to take a moment to say how happy I am that we're back at Southgate Centre, a place that plays a pivotal role in helping our older adults stay active, healthy, and connected. Once again, the Southgate Centre team has done an outstanding job with breakfast. Let's give them another round of applause for that. I'm here often for events. I was just here on Sunday for the MS Walk. But also many Christmas parties, our Lions Club meetings are held here. And the catering staff, they always knock it out of the park. It's also exciting to see progress on the long-awaited renovations. I know we had to park some distance away, but with a growing number of older adults here in Woodstock, and yes, since the membership age is 50, I'm including both my beautiful wife, Sarah, and myself in that group. I hope I'm not in trouble for that. It's more important than ever to have facilities that support vibrant, active living for all ages. Southgate really does offer something for everyone, from fitness classes, music and dance, and lifelong learning workshops, to social programs like cards, woodworking, billiards, and more. No matter what draws people in, the true value is in the connection and community they find there. During the renovation period, we've had a great opportunity to work more closely with Southgate, offering access to city-run recreational spaces to ensure their vital programming could continue uninterrupted. It also gave participants the chance to explore other community spaces they may not have visited before. We look forward to celebrating the grand reopening of the center later this year. So mark your calendars when that date's revealed. Chris Cunningham in the background, of course. As for the proposed North Woodstock Recreational Facility, we recently received the results of a comprehensive community consultation. Nearly 1,700 residents took the time to share their feedback about our current recreational offerings and what they want to see in the future. We received 137 pages of comments, and I read every single one of them. And it's a good thing I don't sleep much, because that was a lot of reading. I'm so grateful to everyone who took the time to contribute. That kind of civic engagement is what drives good planning. Now, here's a little bit of what we learned. Around 90% of respondents use our current recreational facilities regularly. Based on their experiences, 74% of respondents said they would like to see the project begin immediately, even if it required borrowing funds. That speaks volumes about the demand and the value our community places on recreation. Of course, large projects like this take time. While there's no question that more capacity is needed, the reality is that it'll be a few years before a new facility can be built. But behind the scenes, work is already underway. Engineering, planning is key infrastructure like road access is started. Once complete, a subdivision application will be submitted, followed by a full park assessment and then detailed design drawings. Right now, the project is included in the city's capital forecast for 2029, and staff will be exploring funding opportunities, including grants, partnerships, and wait for it, sponsorships. When we built the community complex, the community really showed its support by establishing a foundation and raised nearly $1.5 million for that facility. We're hoping once again people will rally behind this valuable community initiative and be part of creating the future of recreation in Woodstock. These contributions are important to help offset costs and ensure we can invest in the future while keeping financial pressures manageable for residents. And that brings me to one of the hardest parts of municipal leadership, the budget. This was, hard to believe, my 11th budget cycle, and I can tell you, they don't get any easier. With the growth we're experiencing here in Woodstock and across Oxford County, the pressure is on to provide the level of service our residents expect while also laying the groundwork for future needs. We have to think long-term. In addition to the new recreational complex, we're also looking at other major capital needs, including the Civic Arena, which is at or near the end of its useful life, the redevelopment of Museum Square, and a proposed expansion to City Hall, which will eventually be necessary to maintain service standards. These are incredibly difficult decisions. They're often unpopular in the moment, and I'll be honest, when I look back on my 2 previous terms of council, there are a few decisions I regret not advancing sooner. If we had started them then, they might have already be serving our community today. We need to be mindful of the long-term consequences of postponing critical investments, because when we delay, we don't avoid costs. We pass them on to future generations. It's unbelievable to think that the complex cost almost $14 million to develop in the mid-1990s, and now, about 30 years later, a similar facility is more than $80 million. I know that for many, the idea of taking on debt raises concerns. But when used responsibly, debt is a strategic tool. It ensures that the people using our new facilities, both current and future residents, help pay for them over time. And that is smart planning. We also need to continue pushing for funding equity from the provincial government. As the urban hub of a largely rural community, Many people from surrounding communities use our facilities and services. And while regional access makes good sense, it really does, it also plays a disappropriate burden on Woodstock taxpayers. We will continue to advocate for fair solutions and ensure our residents are not left carrying an unfair share of the load. And while we're on the subject of budget, I want to also send best wishes to Diane Campbell, our city treasurer, on her upcoming retirement. For the past 33 years, Diane has showed incredible dedication and knowledge, and we'll definitely miss her and the expertise she provides. Congratulations on your well-earned retirement, Diane. Now, she's not here this morning, and she wouldn't let me have done and said that if she was, so that's why I wanted to do it. Next year marks a major milestone for our city, Woodstock's 125th anniversary. Anniversaries are powerful moments. They give us a chance to reflect on where we've come from, celebrate how far we've come, and look ahead to what's next. They're an opportunity to foster community pride, to acknowledge our shared accomplishments, and to deepen the connections that bring us together. Connections between people, between businesses, between neighborhoods, and between our past, present, and of course our future. At the heart of it all is one simple idea: belonging. We want people to feel rooted in their community, to feel connected to the land, to our shared history, and to one another. One of my favorite parts of being mayor is getting to attend community events and meeting people from all walks of life. I especially enjoy learning about different cultures and how people celebrate, because no matter our backgrounds, so many of our traditions are rooted in the exact same things: family, music, dancing, and of course, my greatest favorite thing is food. Whether it's my own Italian heritage, Punjabi or Filipino festival, or even a Muslim holiday, I've noticed those same threads of joy, connection, and celebration all tied together. We all want to feel like we're part of something. And that's what I want for Woodstock. A city where everyone feels welcome, valued, and invested here in our shared future. Our anniversary is also about connections, about our past, present, and of course our future. We want to reflect on our history and where we come from. I recently had the unique privilege of participating in the filming of a mini-series called Condemned, about public hangings at the courthouse here in Woodstock. My scenes were filmed in the Woodstock Museum in what was the former Woodstock Council Chambers. That experience gave me an opportunity to sit and look around, immersed in the history of the area and looking up at photographs of past councils while I literally sat in the chair of the mayors who came before me. It was a very touching experience. That's what this anniversary is really about. It's about learning from our past, from both our successes and our mistakes, and using those lessons to provide us in the future. It's about coming together to imagine what kind of city we want to be, and then working side by side to build it. Throughout 2026, you can expect all our events to be bigger and better than ever as we mark our 125th. We're also looking to get the public involved in the celebrations. Staff is working on programs to encourage and support those who want to host their own events or initiatives that help create connections with their staff, their customers, and their neighbors. Watch for information later this year as celebration details are being firmed up. When I spoke with you last year, I talked about the importance of working together. And over these past couple of years, we've been building new relationships, partnerships, and possibilities. We're starting to see the fruits of those labors. And while it can be disheartening to see negative comments online suggesting a lack of action, I want to assure you The foundation for real, lasting change is being laid every single day. Change takes time, and mobilizing that change in meaningful, sustainable ways doesn't happen overnight. I came into this role knowing that every decision I make will have supporters, and yes, critics. That's part of the job. But even on the toughest days, it remains my greatest privilege to serve this community. I know we can't make everyone happy, but I can tell you, and I'm sure my fellow council members would agree, every decision we make is driven by what we believe is in the best interest of Woodstock and its people. I want to thank each and every one of you in this room for the role you play in shaping our community. Whether you're running a business, attending events like this one, volunteering, fundraising, or simply showing up, your investment in Woodstock matters. It's what brings our vision to life. So I encourage you, keep participating. Keep sharing your ideas. Keep challenging one another to collaborate. And for the critics, encourage them to step away from their keyboards now and then. And get involved in creating the kind of solutions that move us forward. Because Woodstock's strength is and always will be found right here in its people. And finally, to my entire family, and especially to my lovely wife, Sarah, thank you. Thank you for your unwavering support, for your incredible patience, and for answering far more questions about the city than we ever expected when I got elected. I know you're always happy and helpful to help those that ask you questions. I want you to know how incredibly grateful I am for you. Whew. Yes. That was my goal, to get through that without a tear. Thank you all for being here this morning. Let's keep working together. Let's make Woodstock an even better place to live, work, and raise our families. Thanks, everybody. So I'll give you some time for questions.
So yeah, now we'll take a couple minutes just to open up the floor for any questions anyone has for the mayor.
Thank you. Oh boy, here we go. You weren't hesitant, or you weren't slowing down at all. You were making sure you were first.
I had a big, long question. You've already answered.
Oh, well, there you go. So we're still asking it.
I could have asked.
Okay.
So I'm going to go to another one.
Okay.
You mentioned the recreational study that you read every page.
137 pages of it. Hundreds.
What input did they have in talking about overnight stays that the complex could procure, which would give us the $400 and some odd dollars as opposed to the $9?
Mm-hmm. There is a lot of talk about the type of facilities people would like to see. And I got to be honest with you, it was mixed. Reading them individually, now they weren't, when I read it, they weren't all summarized. It wasn't all put together nice and neat. I literally went through and read every single written comment. And people talked about, well, some were, don't do it. Don't spend a penny of my taxes. I want my taxes to go down. I get it. Others were, we need a rec facility for a brand new NHL team to play in the city of Woodstock. They were really extremes. We've got to find some balance there in between, right? We've got a great facility out at the complex. I envision, and it looked by most, I will say majority of the comments, they liked that type of facility. That seemed to be the definite theme, that they wanted something nice, but not overboard. Something we're proud of, but we haven't gone hundreds of millions of dollars into debt. And a council decision, it won't be this term at council, next term at council will probably have those tougher decisions, and I will be honest with you, I hope I'm part of those conversations. But those are going to be definitely looked at more ongoing, because the users that of those facilities have made some really great points about change rooms to what they'd like to see in the waiting areas. So a lot of good raw data, and I love that. I'm a bit of a geek that way. I love data. I love reading, and that was it was a lot of reading, but it was one of those. I think it took me 3 nights to read it all, and I went through one whole highlighter. I started a new highlighter, and I used it up, but it was a lot of good data. So we're hoping that we'll have good facilities here, that people are encouraged to come, play in tournaments, spend the night, use our restaurants and shop, for sure. Yep. Yes.
With the current U.S. tariffs impacting local industries, what support is available for businesses in Woodstock at the local and provincial level? And then how can both the city and residents help mitigate these effects and support the industries as a whole?
Great question. Certainly expected that. I'm going to start off by giving our Woodstock Chamber a hats off. They've got a great website. They've put together a lot of good information. And I encourage you, if this is a concern of yours as a business or even simply as a resident, go to the Chamber website. They've got a lot of good data. I find myself going there, so I thank them for that. To summarize it, we don't know what's going to happen. You know, that's the truth of it. I wasn't kidding in the speech when we, went over that a fair bit. Is like, what can we say? And we still can't. We don't know what to say. You know, our partners here in this room, you're living through this right now. I couldn't imagine 25% added to a cost of a RAV4 would be significant, right? Coming out of the automotive world myself in the background, I couldn't imagine going to a customer tomorrow and say, Mr. and Mrs. Customer, your vehicle went up by $6,000 overnight. I'm going to go back to what I put in the speech. I think we have to be stable. We have to think about it. We're going to rely on each other, and we're going to advocate to all levels of government saying the effects that they do. Toyota has been one of the greatest in my meetings with them, or virtual and in-person meetings. Status quo. As you see, they got the top selling vehicle. Like, I don't really think they're too worried about the lack of sales. It's just, what is that going to cost the customer at the end of the day? And we're all responsible to try to ensure that those costs are as minimal as possible, because everything has gone up so much. So I know it's not an exact answer, but it's best I got right now. But we're going to keep working and support everybody. And if there is a way, let me put it out there. If there is a good idea, if there's something that we can help as an economic development team, as a small business team, as the mayor's office, please do not hesitate to reach out. It's our jobs. We want to make sure you thrive here in Woodstock. Okay, we're going to do everything within our powers to make sure that happens. Okay? Yes?
Thank you for putting slides for us. You spoke about having the commercial units to attract the businesses to Woodstock.
Yes.
Can you talk about what are the efforts we are making in terms of all the different businesses to make Woodstock?
Sure. In order to get taxes down, we got to attract more businesses. It's pretty simple math. That's why we've been working in the past. Len and Brad and the whole economic team has been working tirelessly to make sure we have shovel-ready land. And then, of course, attracting those developers that want to come here. And you're seeing those buildings going up. Now, we've been very fortunate. Buildings don't sit empty long at all. Because again, it's where we are. Location, location, location. We're here at the crossroads. We're just hours away from multiple borders. Businesses that are coming to my office, they want to be here. We've been kind of picked on a map So we've just got to try to make it as easy as possible, either through having a site ready to have a fresh new build, or moving into a building that's been developed and looking for a tenant. And like I said, we've been having a lot of success behind that. And a lot of that is stabilized here because of Toyota so many years ago trusting City of Woodstock and Oxford County as being the place to be, and others have followed for sure. Yeah. Mike?
I have a question that's been submitted by Woodstock resident Ken Milner. So I'm asking this on his behalf. It starts with a statement. Our family and other families would like to see more consideration in naming of new Woodstock streets of people who have paid the ultimate sacrifice in World War I and World War II and other conflicts that Canada has been involved in. In communities like Ingersoll, all new streets are named after veterans who returned or paid the ultimate sacrifice. We, like other families, think Woodstock should name its streets after veterans and that a new policy should be implemented. In our family's case, Frank Turner and Gord Turner, brothers of grandmother Elena Turner Milner, are included on the Woodstock cenotaph. They were Woodstock residents and paid the ultimate sacrifice. Also, our father Harold Milner from Embro, as well as our uncle Norm Tucker from Woodstock, served in the Navy during World War II. Ken's question is, can the City of Woodstock consider changes to their street naming policy to better recognize those who have served and paid the ultimate sacrifice for our country?
Did everybody hear that okay? No question? Yeah, I just want to make sure. Okay. I know Mr. Milner quite well. We talk about it every time he sees me. And honestly, I mean, it's a good question because, you know, those that have made the ultimate sacrifice should be recognized. You know, as a city, we take a lot of pride putting up our flags along Dundas Street. We work with our Legion. We do try to recognize anyone local that has ever passed away for sure, and that's currently serving. So those that are not familiar, here in the City of Woodstock, we do have a big list. You could submit a name, a war hero, or somebody that's established something here in the City of Woodstock. Ludington's come to mind quickly as a name here in the city that's been recognized with a park. You can make submissions. What council does when we get those plans of subdivision, go through and we suggest names. Council kind of goes through and suggests names for all those streets. It is up to council to decide on those names, and I've mentioned this to Ken a few times that, you know, if those names he wishes aren't on the list, let's get them on the list. Most of them are, by the way. Most of them are. I think there's so many people that deserve some sort of recognition here in the City of Woodstock that personally, and again, I've said this to Ken directly, that I like where we are right now with our current policies. I do believe in looking at neighborhoods, and if there's something appropriate, I got to think of Normandy and Halifax, and we've got certain neighborhoods. We got bird sanctuary. We've kind of got themes in certain parts of the city, and I kind of like that idea myself. So I'll always encourage and promote anybody to bring forward a name. We'll put it on that list, and we'll allow council that decision to vote on those names. We don't have a lot more plans of subdivision left here in the city within our current boundaries, so it'll be 1 and 2 names at a time for probably the next little while, but there are some opportunities coming forward. So bring those names forward. Okay? And I know that's not the answer he wants to hear, but I've been saying it for 2.5 years now. Yes, Jeff.
Morning, thanks for the update. Kind of a broad question, but if you can kind of make it as specific as possible.
Sure.
What do you see as the biggest challenges in Woodstock and Oxford County in the next 3 to 5 years? So again, really wide, but maybe if you
Biggest challenge, yeah, and that's, I get asked that often. Almost every event I attend, somebody kind of asks us. And right now, I think homelessness and a shelter system has been the biggest, let's say, item on my desk every day. We have so many things going on in the city, and I can't. It's hard to say one thing because, literally, I've never been so much juggling in my life. One event to the next, and every single thing we're talking about different things. But the one steady is what we're doing with homelessness. This Heart Hub is really exciting. I truly believe one day we're going to look at the Heart Hub and its buildings. Again, it's not just one building, but the Heart Hub model itself. And I'm going to look at it and think of, remember the days we didn't have Secura House here in Woodstock and Oxford County? Do we remember those days? And now we're so thankful it's there. I honestly believe that's what the Heart Hub influence is going to be here in our community, where we can give people the help they need when they need it. So I guess if that's focused enough, that is probably the biggest item. Next 3 to 5 years is going to be, of course, the growth and the infilling we're doing right here in the city of Woodstock. We need more apartments. We need medium and high density throughout the city. We have to do better with what land we have, but respecting those neighborhoods the best we can to make sure they blend in and they look appropriate, by respecting, but while still recognizing that we need those numbers. So it's literally homeless shelters to Heart Hub, getting the help, the mental health help or addiction help somebody needs at the moment. And then, of course, homes for all of us. My daughter is 25 years old today, and her fiance and my granddaughter are looking for a place to live. And I want them here in the city of Woodstock. They're in Stratford right now. They're looking around. And I think of all the families and the people that come to me and say, we want our kids and our parents to still live here. They need something affordable. That is the absolute next. And it's all related to that whole affordability, because everybody's affordability number, I've learned very quickly, is different. $1,000 rental to $2,000, $2,500 rental is still affordable within somebody's means. Because even if they're moving into a nicer place, it's making something vacant and empty for that family to move in, or our parents to move in with their pensions and can afford it. Okay. One more, I'm told.
Outside of the North Woodstock Recreation Facility, are there any other projects on the go, recreation facility-wise?
Other recreation, we're actively working on parks. Southside Park, if you've been following along, is going to expand. We got another approximate 40 acres of park in the old golf course that's going to be attached to Southside. That'll be coming up soon. That work's going to be active. And if you've got a little later on this month, the new splash pad on Finkel Street is going to be opening. Make sure you check it out. It has turned out wonderful. To parks, I can think of 3 parks right now kind of being reconditioned and redone and being updated. But it's not just that. We were just planting, Councillor Schattenberg and I and Councillor Leatherborough were planting trees on the weekend in Kintry Park, which I don't think of, because I'm not in that area very often, and that's a beautiful little spot. We have so many, I think it's like 500 acres of parkland in the city of Woodstock that we take a lot of pride in. Yeah. Is that it? Yeah. All right. Again, thanks everybody. I really do appreciate you being here this morning.